Have another beer, buddy.
Chatty chat chat chat. I think that they probably said that being shorter is advantageous.
Well, they need to teach me then. There you go. So we had to poke a little fun at him. Call you Ginger Swag.
Yeah. If you weren't bowlers, what would you have liked to have done instead? Anything else. Literally anything else.
That's a great answer.
The horse is so dead that it's on some kid's school project on a landfill already.
And there you have
it.
No. We'll talk him into one more.
Terrible idea.
What's up?
What's up, everybody?
We live.
Yep. Welcome to a special edition of the breakdown pair, highly requested. Got to give the people what they want.
Gotta give the people what they want.
All right, we're gonna go a little short on the intro because we have a special guest coming on. So this is draft week for our Scratch Draft League, and whether you're on a draft league or whether you're just drafting fantasy football or something like that, there's some interesting strategies and stuff. And so we have a guest here that's going to talk about his draft strategies, and he's got league tonight, and so we're going to get him in early, and then we will talk about the USBC situation where the classified bowler hit the all-in button and won $30,000. And we'll recap the draft from last year because we did have a lot of local interest. I know that a lot of you may not know any of these names at all, but it's just an interesting concept, and there's people that were interested in it. And there's a lot of locals that were interested in our takes last year and the preview. And then next week we'll do the recap. And then, of course, we're going to look at what we said last year and how everything ended up working out with the league. But we're going to go ahead and bring Mr. Niffin in here to talk about his strategies.
Hey, there we go. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Happy early birthday, by the way, Lucas. Tomorrow, correct? You got the hat. Fantastic.
And happy birthday to you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Turned 33 today. My back feels like it's in its midlife crisis right now, so that's fun. But, that's kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
There we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it only goes downhill from there, I promise.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I was watching back I think it was the preview. No, it was the draft recap show from last year when you gave Luke that hat, and I'd forgotten about it. So good to see that again.
Each day is better than the next. We are going to start off with Sam Adams Porch Rocker. They had 12 packs of Sam Adams Summer Mix, and we have sales every Friday.
Yep.
And this particular,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But they had 12. Yes. We had 12 packs of these for $4. So
ooh, nice.
That's a
heck of a bottle opener too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. That's
is that the bottle opener?
That is the bottle opener.
Nice. That's legit too.
So yeah,
we'll
talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute here. So anyway,
pretty sick.
All right, so talk some whatever you want to talk while we're getting warmed up here.
While you're getting lubricated.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll kind of start because I came in, and for those who don't know, I just moved to Kansas about a year ago. Lived in North Carolina my whole life. I had subbed in Medlin, the Scratch League, I believe 3 times in a span of 2 years, just kind of lined up with trips out. So I sort of knew what I was getting into. Heck, one of the times I was technically an illegal sub and they let me still pace and play brackets, and I shot 790, so that was a lot of fun. So I knew already coming in that generally it was a really good group of people. And by and large, I think that is part of what makes the league as good as it is it's a good group of bowlers and a good group of people. And that's not something that you see every day. And I think it's a pretty special thing. And so when I was even thinking about moving out here, part of my kind of geolocation element of that was I didn't want to be more than 45 minutes away from Royal Crest because I'm going to be bowling that league. So it's definitely, being in the league is a pretty high priority for me competitively. And there was also definitely an unknown of am I going to land on a team with people that are going to be like fun to bowl with and they were going to get along well? Fortunately enough, as y'all correctly predicted last year, Smallwood did take me first overall in the draft. And it's funny, come to find out, that actually worked out really well. His job back in the 1980s was essentially the punch card version of what I do for my day job now, designing statistical automation software. So he kind of had that little bit of common ground as well, and really enjoyed talking with him, made some new friends from that, and was fortunate enough to land on a good team. And I think kind of one of the big takeaways from that, this kind of influencing my draft strategy this year, is I have always been, when it comes to team-based bowling environments, I've always been a believer that good vibes and good communication can outweigh a marginal deficit in raw talent, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And especially when I'm not signing up for just like a one-day tournament with somebody, I'm signing up to essentially be in close proximity to these people for 3 to 4 hours every week for almost a year.
Yeah.
And so that's almost kind of, I can delve in a little more to the kind of nitty gritty strategy, because I think the draft board is a very different picture this year than it was last year. But fundamentally, at least for myself, I'm probably going to be placing a little more of an emphasis than most on known to me quantities, for lack of a better term. So kind of, have I seen this person bowl? Do I have a feel of what they're capable of versus what their draft cost is, or what their draft capital is going to be? As well as, am I going to enjoy bowling with this person, or are they going to drive me up a wall? And that's kind of like, I'm not saying this is my target, but like, if I have the choice between a team that is in the 880 to 890 range, but we're going to be like, I'm going to be with two of the people like, I don't want to talk to you all week, every week, or an 850 to 860, and we all have a blast bowling together and work well together, I'll take the 850 or 860 every single time.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And so that's kind of, from a general perspective, that's kind of my approach. The big thing, and Luke, I know you and I were talking about this a little bit on Saturday, or was it Saturday, Sunday, whenever we were sitting down and kind of looking through the draft board before the new one came out earlier today, is, and I don't have the boards up in front of me. I'm obviously talking on my phone. I'm in the Olathe parking lot, about to go bowl league in a little bit. So last year, within the average range of captains, there were another probably 12 guys with an entering average above the lowest team captain's average, which was Smallwood. Smallwood is like 221, 222. And there was, there were 5 guys on the draft board that were 230 plus. And so there were several teams that ended up in a multiple captains type of situation. Trevor almost ended up in that. Russ and Hirschman would have ended up there. Obviously, Jeremy's no longer with us, but I think that definitely would have ended up in that situation. Drawing a blank off Jay and Petrell and Kreitzer are both captains this year, and they were on a team together. Yeah. So there were some teams that had multiple captains on them. There was also actually a really substantial amount of captain turnover this year versus last year. I think out of the 18 captains we have this year, I think 10 were captains last year or something like that. So there's a bunch of turnover in that regard, and kind of the raw captain level talent is the best way that I can describe it. That talent pool is a little drier this year than last year. And so one thing that Luke, you mentioned on the last show, or in the draft shows last year, was kind of talking about how there wasn't necessarily as much value by positioning for a better pick in the later rounds with your first round pick, just because of how much of a drop off there was. If you didn't get a really good 3-hole bowler with your first pick, then you were going to be behind the 8 ball with as much captain level talent as there was last year. And obviously this is going to be my first year drafting, and I have if we stay at 18 teams, I'm going to have the 14th pick. If we go to 16 teams, which I doubt at this point, then I will have the 12th pick.
Yeah, we've got 75 names as a total, so we should have it. If this holds and nobody drops out by Thursday, we should be just not drafting 3 this year.
Which we can still add a few before it's all said and done. So
yeah.
So I am going to have a significantly later pick. I finished 5th highest in the league for average last year. Finished at, I think, Russ -10, which is pretty good considering where I started. But, having the 5th to last pick of the first round, I think is both going to be a benefit and a detriment at the same time. The benefit is this is my first time drafting in this exact situation with this group of people. And there is going to be a significant learning curve just even throughout the draft itself of kind of how's it going, who are people gravitating towards, what do I think other teams are shooting for in terms of team builds. Mm-hmm. And realistically, I have about 2 or 3 different ideas for how my first pick could go, and I won't really be able to make a call on that until it gets to my pick of the first round. Because there's like I said, I don't have the board in front of me, but if there's but just to throw a name out, I see 0 chance of this happening. If Jared Freed is there for me in the first round, that's a smash insta pick. I don't care who else is out there. I don't care if there's other bowlers out there that are going to position me better. I don't really care because that's such a huge plus.
Yeah.
Just from a talent level perspective. I mean, if Gromovitz falls to me, which no chance, he's going to be first off the board more than likely because Yuri's got first pick. But if someone that is truly an elite level, like they would should be a captain if they weren't just rejoining the league type of deal. Mm-hmm. If someone like that is there, then that's kind of gonna force my hand a little bit. But otherwise, and this is where I think picking later is going to be a little bit of a benefit given my average situation, is I'll be able to look at 13 teams in front of me and look at who's gonna be there and who I think is going to be there in the second round and figure out. Essentially, I have a few different kind of tiers in my head, at least, of who kind of, if I want to land in a certain average range, then this is who I'm looking at picking. And because of because I'll have all these averages and picks already sitting there in front of me, I'll know roughly where my second round pick is going to be before I make my first round pick. And that's it, kind of depending on depending on how the rest of the draft goes, that's going to kind of inform how much I value shop with my first versus how much I just pick raw best available bowler, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We were looking at it last year, and that's one of the points you made about picking for placing, having a higher placing in the second round didn't really work out, because the difference between, like, if you pick, last in the first round and then last again in the second round, there was like a 5-pin difference in that. And so dropping down, there were so many big names that were up at the top of the list on the first round that it's like, okay, well, you can make a smarter pick and position yourself better in the second round, but you're not really doing yourself a favor. If you're like giving away 10 pins in the first round just to advance yourself like 5 pins in the second round, it just wasn't really worth it. Last year, it's just a fire. You can just pick the best name on the board, and then you're going to be fine in the second round regardless. This year, I think it is and isn't a little bit more important, because there's the middle of the draft there's not a whole lot of parity, but the problem is that I don't think the list is as strong this year as it was last year. Now, part of that is that everybody's averages, aside from maybe like Russ, are down across the board. And so I think the numbers look worse than they did last year, just because the first 3 months of the league was they resurfaced the lanes. And it was very, very tough on scores. And so I think that I don't necessarily think it's that as much weaker as it seems like it is on paper. but there are several notable names that are not bowling this year that were bowling last year.
Yeah. I know Durago's not coming back.
Yeah, we lost Jeremy.
Rager, Rager's not coming back. Hirschman, obviously.
Jeremy is for different reasons.
Yeah.
Usry's not coming back.
Yep. And Usry was just a time thing I was actually talking to him about this last week, because he's just got so much stuff going on with the shop and his family that it's hard to justify that drive and being out that late on another weeknight.
Yeah. Memphis Nick. Yes, this is a scratch league. So we've got a draft scratch league, and it's great. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more. We just wanted to have James on first to kind of talk about just general strategy and thoughts about it. And especially, it's going to be a little different for him because he's new to the area and he knows a lot of these people from bowling last year, but there's several names on the list that we don't know either.
Yeah. No.
And so there is always kind of a learning curve, and there are a couple colleges in the area. And so whenever they have people that come in to bowl for the college, there are a few names that nobody's going to know every single year. And so that makes it interesting, but he's still getting to know even the people that were in the league last year. You only bowl them twice.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're on the complete opposite end of the world. You don't even know some people are in the building that night.
That's accurate.
That
Yes.
does make it a little difficult.
Yep.
Even if they did bowl in the league last year, there's some people I'm like, well, they just joined this year twice. I don't know.
I mean, you're not kidding. There's a lot of names I don't even have a clue who they are.
Yeah.
So, not saying that they're bad bowlers by any means, but it makes it crapshoot, especially in the draft room when you have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know even Luke, when Smallwood was talking with you about me before the draft last year, is like,
yeah, because he didn't know you either.
Yeah, it's like, even though I'd been there a few times, like half the league didn't. I mean, at least half the league had no idea who I was, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and you were on board at 247 too, and that's another consideration. It's like, well, if he takes you, he's automatically picking last until Hirschman somehow falls to Russ, and then that changes that a little bit.
Who let that happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
The entire rest of the league, which I still
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's certainly
what's his name, McAllister.
He did end up on McAllister. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that was
what a mess.
Yeah,
what a mess. Yeah, there are certainly some bowlers who I would much more prefer than others to have on my team. But yeah, I think the bigger thing that I'm thinking about. If only it worked that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm much more thinking like when I get in the room, obviously as a subject to change, but I'm much more going to be thinking about chemistry and being able to work together than purely maximizing pinfall. Because I mean, heck, you think about it, Jay Fattrell's team was one of the lower draft averages and they crushed last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did.
So it's kind of, if I can find that, find a couple people find some people that I work well with and, maybe sneak some value along the way where their entering average might be a little lower than where I think they actually are capable of ending as a bowler, then, if I can find that and everything comes together, we could have a great year. So
yeah,
it's kind of, it's funny. Obviously, there's no waiver wire roster changes the same way there is in fantasy football. So, I mean, obviously, you're not going to win the league at the draft, but you can set yourself up for success. And that's, if I was going to distill it down to one thing, I'm trying to set myself up for success and to have fun with the team that I pick. So,
yeah,
I
like it.
What are you doing, Tweety?
There's always those wild card picks out there too, though, that you can always take a shot on and go, okay, this guy was way down. I think he can go 7 to 10 pins higher this year. And it happens every year. Somebody always gets that one guy they strike gold on, or they get that guy that they're like, okay, he's going to be 220, and then he ends up at 205, 10.
I do think that, like Luke said, averages were down across the board in Medlin last year versus the year before. That's actually a consideration for me, Kevin. Obviously, if you've seen some of the videos of me bowling on Luke's channel, I have a higher rev rate and I tend to play the inside of the lane more. And finding guys who can kind of see the lane similarly to me, I think is definitely a benefit, because then we have multiple people that can work a little more closely together and understanding nuances of what we're seeing in the middle of the lane versus playing more straight up the outside. With that said, I also think there is definitely value to having a decent lefty who may or may not be a ginger, but also, having people who can stay a little bit straighter and the ability to kind of stay out of trouble if they get a little funky one night. And so there's definitely that consideration for me as well, in how I'm building my team. It's an illustration of a concept, not necessarily a hard and fast rule that I'm going to go by, but kind of one thought that I've had coming into the draft this year is if your rev rate is over 400 and your average is under 220, I am less likely to draft you this year, pure and simple, because it's almost kind of what might result in a more chopped up lane game 3. Is that really worth the payoff, essentially, of drafting that bowler? So, I mean, obviously, it's not as black and white as that concept, but that's the best way I can think to describe it. So all things equal, would you take a lefty or a righty first? If it truly is all things equal, probably a lefty, honestly. Just because save a little bit of traffic, I think the left side is going to get a little nicer this year because it was pretty wretched last year at Royal Crest. So I think if I pick a lefty that was in the league last year, I think their average is going to be a little bit artificially depressed, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, Trevor was down 15 pins.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
That's the lowest Trevor's averaged in a decade.
Probably,
Trevor was way down there. Trevor was almost out of top 36 in average at the end of the first half, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, he was 2-0 at the end of the 2-0, or just barely up to 210 at that point.
Yeah,
I think he finished 2-5.
He bottomed out at like 208, which is kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
He told me he has no idea what to do that lone draft.
Yeah. He's like, what do I do? Trevor gets.
I'm sure he'll figure it out.
The one time Trevor will ever be able to pick like 5th or 6th.
Yeah, no kidding. So if it truly is all else equal, lefty probably, just for the saving traffic and kind of having that advantage. With that said, there aren't that many lefties on the board, actually.
As far as we know, anyways.
No, it's me and Gilmore, and
I mean, some of these names I really don't know.
Yeah, some of the names I don't know, I'm not sure, but yeah, me and Gilmore are about the only, because Rob's drafting, Trevor's drafting.
Yep. And Durago's gone.
Kinsey Miller's not on the board.
Mm-mm. Her brother is. I think Dylan Swift, isn't he? I think he's a brother.
Oh, okay.
I think he's from Emporia, but
okay.
Yeah. If you don't know the people, how do you know how they play the lanes? Their Cliff Notes scouting reports. I'll just kind of ask around as best as I can. If there's someone that I'm actually interested in, I'll probably actually go through the list of people I don't know and like Facebook stalk them and see if there's any videos out there or stuff that I can use, just kind of build a reference point. With that said, I am much more likely to draft people that I know already, just to be perfectly honest, just because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm probably going to be chasing a little more kind of known to me quantities in terms of bowlers and in terms of people. So that's probably going to be my general approach. My team is more likely than most to be 3 people that were in the league last year, I would say, is a simple way to put it.
It's a fair bet.
The captains do talk quite a bit in the draft room, and especially with people coming in. Jesse and Larry get up and they talk a little bit, and they will kind of give you a scouting report on some people, because they don't want to. Now, some people want to keep things a little bit closer to their chest if they have a little bit of extra knowledge about something.
Yeah.
And if they have somebody that they've got their eye on, they might be a little more tight-lipped. But again, they want the competitive integrity of the league to be up, and they don't want, especially when somebody new is coming in, they'll give you their best idea what's going on with them, just to at least give you an idea. But still, somebody new coming into the league is always an unknown.
Yeah.
Just because they're coming in from, like, there's a couple people coming in from Topeka that we know, but how they're going to end up doing in that environment's a little different story.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. And even kind of to tie along with the different environment comment is, like, there was And granted, it was a little more of a shock because they had just redone the lanes when I started the league. But there was the first 2 months or so, I was just trying to figure out how to strike in that league. Like it was literally strike, 9 spare, strike, split 6-3, strike, 9 spare, strike, split 6-3 was.
I think the entire building was, but Russ Wilson. So
Yeah, well, Russ, I think, went to Hogwarts because he bowls on a different pattern than everybody else every week, and just
David Johns whacked them pretty good early when they were garbage.
That's another name that is not David Johns.
Oh, yeah, that's right, David. I think he's going back to Olathe for the Thursday night league there.
When they were trash, he was whacking them pretty good with that Obsession Tour right up the track, if I remember right.
Yeah, he was one of those that was averaging 230, or he averaged like 235 for the first.
More than that.
Yeah,
he was
240 for the first 6 weeks or something. Yeah, he was averaging nutso, and we couldn't figure out how he was doing it when everybody else was struggling. But then, as everybody else kind of went up, Danny Bradley was whacking him early too.
Yeah,
you got the first pick of the draft in here. It says after the first pick, I want the person to show up and pay every week. The incremental prize money one is usually not worth the person you can't count on being there every week. He's not wrong.
Yeah, and note for next week: don't talk shit on Yuri's team, no matter how bad it is. We'll hear about it all year.
Yeah.
We did get poked fun of it a little bit from that.
Yep.
But thanks, James. I appreciate it.
Because league does start in a few minutes, and as mentioned before, back is in old man mode, so I need to stretch. But I think if it works out, I'd love to be on and kind of talk post-draft reaction a little bit next week. And I'll see both of you guys at the league meeting and draft on Thursday. And who knows, all with one or both of y'all this year. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds good. We'll see you there.
The three of us on the team, though, that'd be freaking chaos. Holy moly.
That would be chaos.
It'd be fun chaos, though. But,
yes.
No, thank you guys for having me on. Definitely looking forward to the draft this year. And
same here.
Yeah.
Good luck bowling tonight. Happy birthday, and good luck in the draft on Thursday.
Appreciate it. Y'all enjoy the rest of the show, and I will catch up later. So
sounds great, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Peace. Later, guys.
See ya.
All right. There's a little bit of insight from you from Mr. Niffin himself. As he said, there's a little bit of strategy that goes into this. Obviously, you can really mix a combine of people that you really want to bowl with. Plus, you can also still work out a strategy in the draft as well. Like I still would like to play with this type of player. You know, there's a lot of things that can come into place.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is that even if, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of people that you guys have no idea who they are, but it's just an interesting concept.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that have said, yeah, I have no idea who you're talking about, but it's just an interesting concept. It's fun to talk about. We would love to have a league like this. And so maybe it even gives you ideas to start a league like this where you're from. I'm going to catch up a couple of these questions that had some. Thanks, number one, Chris Cannon and Steve G for firing in some donations, buying us some beers here. Let me see. Scroll down. The way that this works is that the top 18 averages you have to have bowled the year prior. It's not just the top 18 averages period. You have to have bowled the league last year.
Yeah.
So they take the top 18 averages. Those are team captains, assuming that we have enough people for 18 teams. We will have a max of 18 teams. Unless, if we got up to like 26 teams, that'd be a different story. 18 teams works perfectly because then we have 2 17-week halves, and that's the perfect length for a bowling season. We could have had 22 teams last year, but that just would have mucked everything up. We would have either had to do double nights or extend the season. We would have had 2 double nights and extend the season 2 weeks. Nobody wanted to do any of those things, and so unfortunately, I think 17 people didn't get drafted last year.
It's a big number.
Which sucks, but it does make the league very competitive. This year, we're a little bit closer, so a couple people aren't going to get drafted, and you still feel bad for the people that don't get drafted, but at the same time, they kind of, especially down towards the bottom of the list, I think people are a little bit more realistic, and they understand kind of that it may or may not happen.
Yeah.
But
it's worth a shot.
Yeah. The way that the drafting goes is that the 18th team captain or the 18th average picks first, and then everybody just kind of sequentially goes down the list and picks their name. It used to be a snake draft, but that would result in the first team captain picking twice, and then so the 18th team, they'd get the first pick, but then it'd be a million picks until they got to pick again.
Yep.
And so it was just a little off. And so what they do now is you do the first round,
resets,
and then it resets. They add your average plus the your draftee's average, and then they rank you based on total team average after the first pick, and then they do it again. And so if you plus your pick is the highest average, you will pick last again in that in that round, and then they do that again for the third and final round, and you end up with 4 people on your team, and it is scratch, and it all works. Somebody asked what the lowest average was that typically gets drafted. This year, it's going to be around 190.
Yeah.
Last year, it was like 207 or 208. We had a really, of course, the previous year, last year was rough on everybody's averages. So the team average, so the league average as a whole is quite a bit lower this year. But previously, the last couple of years have been pretty easy. And so everybody's averages were up quite a bit. And so it's a lot of the same people. It's just those same people are not averaging what they averaged a couple of years ago. So it's a little, again, the draft board's a little deceptive.
There's a big sandwich in there. So we'll show it here in a little bit, but if you haven't seen it yet, but yeah, there's definitely a big sandwich there where there's a bunch between 207 and 215 that will definitely get a lot of play there. So Chris was 190. Was it Chris at 196? It was Chris at 196 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Was the low average to get taken.
And that was...
He was on my team.
Yeah, that was Quidditch, and he's looking at that as he was a whole lot higher than...
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of an obvious pick to... It's like...
He was a fun teammate, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I had a fun team last year. I feel like an old man because I'm pulling with all college kids, but, hey.
Yeah. Can teams make trades? If so, is there a trade deadline? They don't really advertise this, but everybody that's ever been a team captain knows that they do make trades in the...
Yep.
Now, they don't want to tell people what round you got drafted in because they don't want to make anybody feel bad. And they don't want to talk about trades in the draft room, but there's sometimes some cash has been offered. Say, hey, I'll give you so-and-so and like $100 for this person.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are some deals that happen. They don't want to tell anybody about them just because they don't want to make anybody feel bad. But they used to, or they tried it 1 year, I think, and nobody liked it. It's, because if you pick somebody and you bowl with them the entire year.
Yeah.
So it's all 9 months. And they thought, okay, well, how about we try this? We'll bowl the first half, and then we'll redraft. We'll have another draft, and you'll have different teams the second half.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit more of a hassle, and nobody really liked it. It's like, well, if I draft bad, I'm just going to draft bad, and that's just going to be that. How does subbing work for your draft league? Unless the team captains can pick anybody. And so we have had Wesley Lowe sub before. We have had Adam Johnson. We have had AJ Johnson bowl before. I think we've even had Frankie.
I'm pretty sure Frankie.
Maybe a Brad Miller.
I don't know if Brad's bowling.
Something like that. But the team captains can have anybody sub for them. For the other bowlers, your sub has to be within 5 pins, one way or the other, of who their subbing's for is average, which makes it a little tricky. So if you have a 210 average that you're getting a sub for, they have to be between 205 and 215.
Yep.
This is a red honeycomb. The orange is quite a bit brighter. So this is the red honeycomb, and this is one of the quick ships. And speaking of that, another thing, I have not gotten mine in yet. I put a huge freaking order in, and so I've got one of the shirts, and I've got a red shirt, I think, coming. Or no, I think I actually have the blue shirt coming too.
I have several
and
colors.
I've got the ash or the white hoodie, and so we do. Those are in the description if you're interested in those, and then of course if you use our codes, then you can get 10% off of that. The shirts are like $25, and the hoodies are $45, $50-ish, which are pretty cheap for hoodies. So
that's not too shabby, and they are comfortable. So head to coolwick.com, and the links for hoodies and t-shirts are in the description. So shameless plug.
I think This might have been asked before I got to this, but if there's enough people where several are going to be left out, why not have more teams? So last year, I mentioned it, but we would have had to either double up 4 nights. So if we'd have gone to 22 teams, Jesse and Larry have pointed out, they're the proprietors. They've pointed out before that the competitive integrity of the league is important. And so it's important that everybody bowls everybody else twice a year. Because if you have 22 teams and just say, okay, well, you're just going to bowl who you bowl, well, you could have an easier schedule or a tougher schedule or something like that based on who you do and don't bowl, and that could affect the outcome of the league. And it's always put to a vote. It was last year because it was like, well, we've got 22 teams worth of people. We can draft everybody.
Yeah.
But to make that happen and for it to be fair, we would have to bowl like 40 weeks.
It's not ideal.
However, we did it, and it was presented like, okay, we can extend the season 2 weeks and bowl 2 double ups. So we'll be bowl, and we've had to do that before for makeups or whatever.
Did it for COVID too.
And it is, COVID too. It is kind of fun once in a while.
Makes for Friday a long day.
Yeah, it's midnight, 12:30 by the time you get to bed because you're bowling 2 league nights back to back. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to bowl into May and we're going to have to double up a couple nights, and nobody wanted that. And again, this is a scratch draft league. You know what you're getting into. And so if you are on the bottom of the list and you're just not good enough to get into the league, that's just what it is. They want to make sure that everybody's included, because if you don't get drafted one year, it's kind of like, oh, screw that. I guess I'm not going to
put my name back in that.
Yeah. If nobody's going to draft me, I guess I'm not going to do that again. And it's like, well, I mean, if you were better, you'd have gotten drafted. So,
and it happens a lot.
Excluding some people, like I'm still a little iffy on the year that Kent Sherfy didn't get drafted.
Oh,
because he didn't get drafted at like 211 or 212.
That's right.
And it's kind of like, oh God,
that was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you get to the end of the draft and you're like, oh, how did that happen? And that's almost one of those. It's like, okay, well, it's almost like people went out of their way to not draft him, but that's not what happened at all. It just, we got to the end of the draft. It's like, oh wait, Kent didn't get drafted. Kent didn't get drafted.
Unique New York.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kent didn't get drafted, and it's kind of like, what happened here?
It can't happen though.
Yeah, nobody knew. Like it's like, oh, Kent's up there. Oops.
They're just sitting there hidden in that little spot, and you're like, ouch. Because he hasn't been back since.
No, yeah, and that's the other thing is it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, I guess if you're drafting, people 6, 7, 8 pins below me, I guess that means nobody wants me in the league. Of course, he threw urethane a lot, so there were some people that didn't want him in the league. But
that'll make sense.
That's a different story.
They also, you'll see guys too they'll dip in and go lower average in the first pick too, so that they can reset themselves and be in a better spot. I don't know if you're going to see a lot of that this draft though. I really don't.
No, and I think there's only going to be a few people. Angel keeps talking about she's not going to get drafted, but she's 8 names up from the bottom. Yeah. So, let's talk about some butthurt OC bowlers. Yeah, since that's what everybody's here to talk, we'll circle back around.
We will do our draft picks, I promise.
Yeah, so I do want to show something first before we get rambling on that. So I'm going to flash an email address down here at the
This is awful, by the way.
Yeah, it's terrible. We need to get
Sam Adams Summer Ale Citrus Wheat. No thanks.
Yeah, we need to
get that out of here. Sorry for the loud cling there.
Yeah, Summer Adventure Lager.
Gotcha.
Pow. We're going to be talking about that bottle opener here in just a second. And so I'm going to put So I've shown this before. I had somebody reach out and say, hey, can I send you something? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And most people send me packages. Of course, I love the packages from like Jess and other people that send me packages of beer. Jess sent me all kinds of stuff. He sent me beer. He sent me sweets. He sent me beef jerky.
That was not bad.
Sent me all kinds of stuff. And so I appreciate any packages. These are most packages.
That one's, I might be a little more than half there. Or
I had this one. I had this one the other night.
That was not bad. Pretty close. I just took one sip, so yeah, you're good. You're the birthday boy. You drink the most.
Yeah, I got to put the hat on now, I guess. I've escaped the hat. So, yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow. So, we have a hat for this.
Yup. Too sexy. You look miserable.
Yeah.
I will say that hat is very hot.
It is a little warm. It's a little warm.
It's a little toasty.
So, anywho.
Got an email you want to share, you said?
Yeah, so the email down at the bottom, this is the guy that sent me some very special somethings. They ended up being pens made from bowling balls. And he sent me a bunch of pictures about how he does this. And so he said, hey, if you have, I was blown away because these are like nice pens that you would pay a couple $100 for.
Crazy.
And so he said, if you have anything else you want done, just send them to me. And so Angel and I held on to our Spectres for a while and just hoping, they'd be reinstated or whatever. And so we sent him to him and I said, yeah, just do whatever. Sure, we want some pens, but just try something. We want to see what you come up with. And so, yeah, the bottle opener is one of them. This is a nice bottle opener.
It's very nice, and it still smells like the Spectre.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about the scented balls is they still smell like if you get like a motive ball done or something, it'll come back smelling like paint.
Sharpie. Or a Brunswick ball. It'll smell like Sharpie.
So
Paint,
we
Sharpie,
get some
whatever.
pens. And that they really shine and shimmer if I can get them in the light without like. They're very, very cool looking pens. This one even has the pin. This one even has the pin.
Oh, that's cool.
From the ball in it, which is sweet.
That was still a Spectre, isn't it?
Yeah, he did a couple of them that were some of our dogs. That's Storm Dog, and then this has got Pig and Storm Dog on it.
That's pretty cool.
So these are just different pens. Again, this bottle opener,
legit,
and this is a nice bottle opener. Like this head on this thing. What I want.
Is that a pizza cutter?
Yeah.
Oh my
Hold
gosh.
that.
That's gonna cut some stuff.
Yeah, you could do some damage
I'd be too busy
with
smelling
that
the
pizza
handle.
cutter.
Oh my
The
gosh.
head on that pizza cutter literally weighs like 2 pounds. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so he made me a pizza cutter handle.
That's ridiculous.
And it does detach so that you can you want to wash the handle by hand, and then you want to stick this thing in the dishwasher or just throw it at somebody.
Gosh. The next one's cool though.
Yeah, the next one is ridiculously cool.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
That'll hurt somebody. I tell you what, you better be ready to cut like a thick pizza.
Yeah. One of the cooler things that he sent is a Spectre bowl. So you can really see the shimmer on the bowl. And I asked him, I asked him about he said, feel free to show it off on social media or on the show or whatever. I'm like, well, I can do that, but you're going to have people interested in getting this done for them because there's some other stuff that I'm looking at right there going, I'm never going to throw this ball again. And it would be way cooler to have it, immortalized in a bowl or a pin or something like that.
It's so cool. It still smells
That
like
still is scented, especially with the storm stuff. And I said, you're going to have a lot of people after you to get this done. And he's like, well, that's fine. It's not going to be cheap because if you look at art for anything else, like if you buy 2 of these pens that are these nice, super like fancy pens, it's a couple $100 for a set of pens. He doesn't want it to become a novelty. He doesn't want it to be something he does for everybody. And he wants to make it worth his time because he's got thousands of dollars worth of equipment that it takes to make this bowl, lathes and
that's cool.
All kinds of stuff and it takes a while, especially to make something like a pen, to get all this stuff to fit and to just craft this well enough to where everything fits together and you just don't really think about it. And especially something like this. Now, if you look very closely, most bowling balls only have about a 1/2 to 3/4 inch thick cover on them. It's easier to work with high roads and stuff like that. This has actually been spliced together with several pieces because it's a whole lot thicker than the cover stock is, and you're not going to be able to see it, but you can. He had to put several pieces together to get this handle this thick because the thickness of the cover stock is only about half of this.
Yeah,
but it's so well done that if you didn't know, you'd just never notice. Yep. That this is several different pieces that are kind of put together to make this bottle opener.
It's pretty freaking cool.
And so he said, I have created an email address, which is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. It's going to be on a case-by-case basis. He's not going to have a website. He's not going to make this into a business. He wants this to be something that's at his leisure, on his time, case-by-case basis, and it's not going to be cheap. But if you want to at least reach out to him and have some interest in getting this done, that is his email address down there. You can send him something. If you have an old ball, there's some other, like I'm sitting here looking at that High Road T.
That'd be cool.
We're actually going to send him a case of balls, and he's going to make some pens and some other stuff for our annual Doggo fundraiser stream. He's offered to do that, and so we are going to get probably a couple bowls, probably a couple of these bottle openers are way too cool.
Those are
and
really
so
sweet.
he can, if we get him High Roads, he can make these in one shot, so it'll be a little bit easier. We'll get a couple pens, and so we are going to give some of this stuff away at our Doggo fundraiser in December.
Yep.
But if you're interested in turning a prized possession into a bottle opener, he made a bowling pin wine stopper that I've got on this very interesting bottle of whiskey over here that you're going to try in a minute. It's a bowling pin. He said this is the first one of these he's done. So I've got a Spectre bowling pin wine or whiskey stopper.
Sweet. That's pretty sweet.
So we'll show this. I'll show this off a little bit later in the show. Whoops. I'll show this off a little bit later in the show, but this stuff is just way too cool. And so if you're interested, and again, he doesn't want to turn this into a business. He's going to make it worth his while. It's not cheap. It's not like crazy, but it's not going to be just, here's a pen for $20. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, no. This is so sweet.
And especially with the quality, like this is a nice bottle opener. Like this is just the head on this side. It's not like that cheap stuff that you still pay way too much for in a whatever. I mean, this is like I've never seen a pizza cutter like this. I don't even know where you get a head like this.
I know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'd bust that out. Amanda goes, what are you trying to do? Kill somebody?
Yeah. Yeah. You could butcher the chicken and then cut the chicken pizza with it afterwards.
What are you trying to do to that pizza, she'd say, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll dip back into the chat.
Okay.
Here.
Did you want to do some open championships real quick before we get into our draft?
That's the next thing that we're going to talk about.
I promise draft order's still coming.
That's the worst looking hat I've ever seen. I bet this is supposed to be the worst looking hat you've ever seen. That's the point.
It's golden.
Looks like the leprechaun from the Lucky Charms box with a birthday hat on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You submitting this clip for an audition for the next Alice in Wonderland remake? I'm not Johnny Depp.
The pizza cutter's perfectly weighted for smoked calzones. Yeah, actually, a calzone would be great. Look, are you submitting this clip for audition for next time? Mary and I may have something in the car for you for KCO, by the way. If you haven't killed Hawes yet with those blank sours, go for it. Oh, no. I'm going to pass on the sours as much as I can.
Yeah. I had a guy do rings for the wife and I, High Road Max and High Road. Yeah. That was the other thing that I was thinking of is some of this stuff would look ridiculous as some, ring, something else. So.
What else? You got another one?
That pizza cutter's perfectly weighted for smoked calzones. I had another one of those today.
Yup.
I mean, probably not going to be able to help myself with that smoker.
No. I mean, I can't tell you, looking at that thing, how big it doesn't do it justice on the stream. I think it's huge.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't cut a pizza with that, then you need to go to the gym.
47 Ronin.
You busted that out. I'm like, is that a damn pizza cutter?
Yeah.
Good God.
All
Oh,
right.
goodness.
I'm going to leave that up there for a minute. So what we're going to talk about next
Heck, it's killing me.
is there was a bowler at the Open Championships who was in classified. The only bowler in the history of the tournament to go all in on brackets. And between the tournament and his year-end brackets, all that stuff, he made a little over $31,000. So obviously that sets off some red flags.
No.
And everybody starts doing some digging. Well, it turns out that his tournament average for the last 3 times he bowled the tournament is 149.
Okay.
His current league average is 222. And so that's that doesn't seem quite right. However, the USBC rule is that your last 3 years of Open Championships, your tournament average, because people had a problem with, okay, well, they did sport converted for a while. And so if you came in with a 220, they'd sport convert you down to 190, and then that average would put you in wherever it's at. Well, depending on how difficult of a house you bowled in, some people would average 220 in their house, and they would average 170 at nationals, and other people would average 220 in their house and still average like 202, 205 at nationals.
Yep.
And so they thought, okay, well, it's probably a better idea, especially because the patterns are pretty well the same. The scoring pace has been really consistent for the last several years, and I would say that most people have bowled kind of about the same. I've been within like 50 pins on set for the last however long. It's been really, really consistent. So they thought, oh, it would be better if we just do a tournament average.
Yeah.
This guy, however, because USBC didn't have any intelligent rules in place, he started bowling in like 2013, and he went to nationals in 2016, 2017, 2018, averaged 149. And then he stopped going. So this year, he's been getting better the last several years. He goes this year. His average is 220. He fills everything out, and he notices he's in classified, and it's like, well, I mean, so he filled everything out right. He got his average verified, and they said, well, yeah, your tournament average is 149, so you're in classified. And he's like, well, I average 220 now, and they're like, well, you're in classified, and so he's like, okay,
all in. I'll take reverse brackets. I'll take forward brackets. I'll take.
Yeah. I am selling my car. I am I'm taking out a second mortgage on my house.
I told Amanda I would do the same thing. I said we'd be going to the ATM, pulling out every dime we possibly had. Every dime.
Yeah. And of course, people are confused over this, and they're saying, a classified bowler going all in just sets up red flags, and obviously averages so much more. And I'm like, well, they put all this out. They didn't disqualify him. So number one,
they can't.
That just tells you it's like, okay, well, if they didn't disqualify him, didn't re-rate him, didn't whatever else, something else has to be going on. And so what it turns out is that was exactly the scenario. He just got better. They have this rule that's in place. That's the very first rule as far as averages. If you have an Open Championships average, that average will be used. There is something in there that says you can be re-rated. They didn't re-rate him, though, because he checked. And then he went all in. He made a lot of money. He won all events.
He's got an eagle coming.
Yeah.
He's got 31 grand coming his way.
Mm-hmm.
Bro walked in and said, all right, I got this.
Yep.
Where do I sign up for that?
Put it in the backpack. And so everybody is mad, obviously, and everybody's still kind of confused about what's going on. Well, USBC put out a statement today. I should have had this queued up. But I shared it, and so I'm going to have 17,000 replies. So yeah, there it is. Yeah, dude made a killing. Listened to, I believe, last week's Beef and Barnsley for Breakdown. They had Frankie as a guest host. It's quite the story. Yeah, so USBC, so they put out a statement earlier today. USBC will be adding additional prize money to the classified division of this year's Open Champs and year-long brackets. The additional funds will be used to create an alternate prize fund, removing a high-scoring competitor who, while eligible under the tournament rules, has abilities higher than the classified division. The result will simply be increased prize earnings for classified division bowlers paid by USBC, with this individual removed from the alternate prize list and year-long brackets. No bowler will receive less money than the original list. There is no disqualification, and the individual removed from the alternate list will still receive their prize winnings. USBC will post the alternate prize list later this week. Prize checks will still be on time, although some classified division bowlers may receive supplemental checks for year-long brackets. This situation came to light as year-long brackets results showed a participant in the classified division with a high number of bracket entries and prize winnings. After review, this individual entered the classified division based upon a championships average that was several years old, with current league averages showing a higher ability. This individual did not break any rules or misrepresent their entering average. Therefore, USBC has no basis to change the official results. USBC will address this issue in Open Championships tournament rules moving forward. So, obviously, this was USBC's fault.
I mean, they did a good job to make up for it.
Yeah, this is exactly what they should do. Now, this is kind of a big, I mean, you can't let somebody that's averaging 222 now, especially because he's done that the last couple of years.
Yeah, I know.
He's got a history of averaging 220 something the last couple of years. And so you can't be an official at USBC and say, he's averaging this now. His tournament average is 150. That seems okay.
Hey, you know what I'd do if I was this dude? When I get my eagle, I'd take a nice selfie with a glass of bourbon in my hand,
Yeah.
a big old fat cigar, and the eagle sitting right here and giving it a big old kiss.
Dude, I'd Top Gun Maverick that.
Oh my
That thing,
gosh.
I'd get some aviators and that stupid little mustache.
Oh, yes. Just let it go.
Call me Rooster.
And just give me right in front of the eagle. Just give it the.
Yep.
I would never let that thing go. I'd go to my house or go to my car, put it in a seatbelt.
Yeah, so does this mean they will be awarding a second Eagle for classified division all events? Possibly, probably.
I would say yes.
I would say. And somebody else said that you probably should show the his scores. Like, he didn't go in there and shoot 2,100.
No.
It was something like 640, 520, 610 or something.
It's classified division.
So he still didn't exactly just completely mow them down.
But that shows you how easily he made $31,000.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And some people were saying, some people, it's like, well, you know, he still could have sandbagged to make this happen. The problem is that people don't realize that he didn't average 140 at the tournament at the same time he's averaging 220 in league.
No.
He did that 2016 to 2018. And so if he sandbagged for 3 solid years, going out there, paying thousands of dollars to attend the tournament and just be awful, assuming he could continue to compete for several years, bowlers have done dumber things. But you're telling me he set that up and then just didn't go back 2019?
Dude, I'm telling you, it might be the greatest fleece job of the USBC of all time.
Yeah, and I
He's
mean,
my hero.
If he did, he really set it up. He's like, yeah, I'm not even going to go back in 2019. I'm going to wait 5 years.
You know what? I really would like to get that guy on the show.
Yeah.
So if you ever see anybody knows that guy, please reach out. I would love to have him on the show. That would be fantastic.
That'd be great.
And send me a picture of your eagle while you're at it.
Yeah. That's going to be awkward, too. Think about it, because they're going to have, when he shows up next year,
Oh, yeah.
probably, because his average is going to go up, but it's still going to be adjusted. He's at least going to be in the standard division. At least going to be in the standard division.
He didn't do anything wrong, though. He even told them, look, this is my average. They're like, no.
Nope.
What'd you get? Okay.
Nope, you're in classified.
All right, where do I sign Brawl? Oh, man.
It's like Family Guy with the donkey. Kevin Bacon wasn't in Footloose. Yeah, he was. No, he wasn't.
Okay.
It's like, whatever. And that's the thing. Like, what was he supposed? And people are like, well, you know, that's still very dishonest. He's like cheating people out of their money by. It's like, okay, well, what else could he have done?
They said no. This is what you're bowling at. Was it going to go?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm
I'm just gonna get in a few brackets then, because that's not dishonest either. You know, any amount of brackets he'd have gotten into at that point with what the situation he was in was dishonest.
Oh yeah.
If you're looking at it through that lens, I'm not. I'm saying if I'm in that situation, I'm getting paid.
You would have done it. I would have done it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know how many are watching right now or
Yeah.
watching later wouldn't have done it.
Sorry,
They said, no, you're good. You do you.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah. Sorry to all the classified bowlers money who I'm going to take.
We don't mean any disrespect to the classified bowlers anyway, shape, or
No,
form.
that's the thing.
It's the USBC let somebody that superior has less, I don't want to say more talent, but is a little better skill wise, get into a division where they're already tough, but really all
Yeah.
he's got to do is make spares. He's making money. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so bad. The fact that it's $31,000 is what gets me
Yeah.
every time.
31 grand.
Cha-ching!
Yeah, that's some. Now Nick Crummell made that amount of money this year,
Doing
but
a lot harder work.
He shot like 2250.
Oh.
Anthony Lacaze made $40,000
Yeah.
1 year. He won 2 Eagles and pretty well swept all of his brackets.
Once again, they had to work harder.
Yeah, I'm sure Matt McNeil has maybe not won $40,000, but I'm sure he's won 20 grand.
Oh, I
25
have
grand
no doubt he
a
has.
handful of times.
I have no doubt. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, but I think it's hilarious. Especially now that they're making it right.
I think it's hilarious. And yeah, especially because, we complain about USBC often enough. They actually did this right.
Yeah, they did.
That is, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. I mean, 70 pins is 70 pins. But they made it right. And I think this sounds like something like there's one official that maybe was new, had no idea what they were doing, and like, oh no, this is the rules I go by, and so this is just what we're doing.
I hope the dude walked in with this douche canoe jersey on too, like just dressed to the nines. I would.
Oh my God! Speaking of that,
would have been.
I forgot to bring this down. My brother, for my birthday, he got me the best bowling jersey you've ever seen in your life.
Okay, so got you a bowling jersey.
Yeah, this is. You'll understand.
Okay.
In just a second.
Okay.
As soon as I can navigate my way through this nonsense.
Yeah, you gotta watch your way through there. But it really is such a unique situation. Like you said, Jason, that's something I've never heard of before. And I mean, everybody's probably got their own opinions on it. Curious what everybody thinks in the chat, but I think we're all pretty much in agreement. I mean, the guy did his job. He told them flat out, "Hey, look, this is what I average," and they said, "No, you're good, man. You do you. Just go for it." So, they got caught with their pants down, and they're just handling like Anthony Wiener.
Yeah.
You know what? After the year they had, good for them.
Yeah.
USBC.
This is episode 69.
It is episode 69, by the way.
So my brother was just randomly browsing. He normally does stuff like this because the year that what's her name absolutely murdered the pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, and then she said, "Oh, thanks Marie Callender," and spelled it wrong. Thanksgiving's ruined. After she left the pie in for like 7 or 8 hours and burned it to a crisp, he got me a hoodie that said "Thanks Marie Callender" with a picture of the pie on it. So my brother is the kind of quirky one
Yeah.
So he was just browsing Amazon.
Oh gosh.
And found this bowling jersey. He's like, "Yeah, this seems like some random thing that somebody that made it in China thought that this is what bowling in America would be like." I gotta pull it out front first, actually.
Okay.
The back.
Let me hold the bag.
The bag, the back is way too good. It's like, okay, that looks like a somewhat patriotic and
Bowling.
interesting, and it's really nice material.
Okay.
By the way.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, okay, well, this is a certain crowd would definitely be wearing this. But then we go to the back.
I don't know why, but it's funny.
Oh, this is so great.
Should have made it even better if the dude would have showed up wearing that.
Yeah.
Just to fleece everybody out of $31,000.
Jeremy Nickel. He get this to match his pants.
Yeah. And his tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just like the greatest thing. And the thing about it is yes, this is really nice material too. It's not like crappy stuff. So we're gonna get this and I'm gonna like hang this up on the set or something.
Oh yeah. Obviously you
Get
can't
one
wear
of,
it.
Angel said we're gonna get one of those frames or whatever. like, oh my god.
We should both have something stupid hang up behind us.
Yeah.
We just need to get a chalkboard and we write something
Uh-huh.
stupid every time. Every time. You want to put this over there?
Yeah.
America.
America.
I'm sorry, that's golden. I would actually, if cool, we should have Kulik make us one of those,
Yeah.
and then we wear those for our double shirts.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you got caught with the pants down. Hell yeah, that's too good. That is too good. Anyways, any other thoughts on the old
No.
USBC situation you want to draft here?
Yeah.
Since people are in here to watch the draft.
Yeah. So now we do have some. We talked about the stuff. Again, we will be giving away some more breakdown pair ball cups. And Nico, if you're in here, you got a shirt. You need to send us an address. Curtis L. and Jonathan Tiffany, your stuff will be in the mail forthcoming here. But we do have more of these ball cups to give away. Once again, I've thrown these all over the place, and they're just not breakable unless you probably drop a ball from. I haven't tried this yet. It is just filament, but these are really. I mean, if you take care of them, if you don't do anything like ridiculous, you could probably use them as throwing stars and throw them at each other and be fine. But don't drop a ball from like 10 feet onto it, and you should be fine. We still have
A lot of those.
Still have these to give away. And we might even give away some more breakdown pair apparel since we have it now. Yeah.
I figured I'd wear one for a sample. Some of you that are watching us already have it. So shout out to you guys that have already purchased your merch.
God,
you are definitely cool.
I need to get back up on my Kenny Powers quotes.
I love me some Kenny Powers.
Yeah. My God.
Love me some Kenny Powers.
Yeah. All right. Let me
Okay.
put something else down in the captions.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on. Yep, we'll do that. So, breakdown pair merch. So we are going to talk some draft now. Yeah,
regular merch.
Just quick ship.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to talk some draft league because again, the draft is coming up this Thursday. We are going to talk about some of our predictions from last year. I do have the ranking. So this is the draft list, and of course, you're not going to know any of these names on here. But we did this last year, and since there's so many locals that were interested in this,
these are not the order. I don't think these are the order that the guys were drafted in either.
no, it's not the draft order. It's just a list of who was on their teams, and we went down through these and we looked, and we thought, okay, there's some clear teams that are going to be very competitive here, and so we thought. So going down through I looked back at what we picked, and I thought, okay, well, Smallwood's team is going to be competitive because Smallwood, James, Jeff White, Brent Coolman. I thought, okay, that team's going to be really competitive. Trevor got Baton, Justin McAllister, Brian Sexton. I thought that team's going to be very competitive. And then Russ's team, wherever that's at. He somehow got Hirschman. Noah Belt was almost captain. And then he got Austin Jacobson. And so we're looking at this, and I'm thinking Trevor's team, Russ's team, and Smallwood's team is just going to run over everybody. And then the season happened. So I'm going to pop this up next. This is the final standings for the year.
This is for the second half, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this was for the second half because it does have the year-to-date one loss. Yeah. So this isn't exactly so Danny Bradley's team won the league overall. They had 657 points. His team pretty well mowed over the first half in big part because they were a whole lot tougher, and Danny averaged like 240 for the first 3 or 4 months. So they absolutely obliterated everybody the first half.
Yep.
And I think they could because they finished middle of the pack. They finished 10th out of 18 second half, and they still won by almost 40 points.
Oh, they cruised.
Yeah. The team, the point structure is 32 points a night. It is you bowl the person across from you. So this is where it gets interesting, the draft strategy.
Yeah.
The captains will bowl the captains. And then you'll have the 3-bowler bowl, 3-bowler, one bowls 1, 2 bowls 2.
Yeah.
And you keep your entering averages for 5 weeks. And then it switches to your league averages, your current season league averages. Sometimes captains down, like the 18th team captain will
Yep.
draft somebody, or like a Smallwood James situation. James ended up being the 4-baller.
Oh yeah.
Just pretty well as soon as, as soon as they got into using their own averages, it's just James was just going to be the 4-baller on that team. Sometimes the captains have a bad year and they end up being leadoff bowler. The other thing is that the top 2 averages have to bowl 3rd and 4th.
Right.
And the bottom 2 averages have to bowl 1st and 2nd. And the lower average of the 2 teams gets to pick, just based on still having that structure in place.
Right.
They get to pick who bowls who, 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. And so there is some strategy that goes into this. Russ they finished 2nd, so we thought, okay, well, Russ and Hirschman is just unfair.
That's a cheat code.
It's just unfair.
Yeah.
But how Hirschman felt, I think nobody wanted to pay $230 for Hirschman.
No.
Even though you're going to get it, but you're going to be picking later in the 2nd round.
Right.
But of course, Hirschman shows up for Russ, and it's like, well, why wouldn't I? Don't even care where I'm picking at the 2nd round.
Right.
I'm already the last, the next to last pick in the draft. And so they ended up doing well. So Danny Bradley's team did a lot better than I thought they were going to do. Russ's team did pretty well, exactly as good as we thought they were going to do. Smallwood's team was next, Smallwood and James, and so that was just going to happen. Durago's team did a lot better than I thought they were going to do. Because he had, if we pop this back up here, and Durago bowled really well.
He did bowl well, yeah.
Especially for as down as especially the lefties were. Everybody was down, but he weathered it pretty well. So it was him, Mike Lacey. Mike Lacey bowled really well. Jason bowled really well. Richard had a down year, but I think the other 3 bowled so well, especially while everybody else was bowling bad.
Yes.
They bowled so well that they actually pulled it off. And then the other team that we thought was what was the other team? So I thought Smallwood, Wilson, and who was the other team I thought was going to roll over? I've forgotten already.
I don't remember without seeing the list.
Yeah, okay. So I thought that Smallwood, Wilson, Trevor.
Yeah.
Trevor's team did not do so well, mostly because Trevor was a trash can for 3 months anyway.
Yeah, he was.
This is the lowest he's averaged. So I'm going to pull this up on bowl.com actually, because Trevor, this is the earliest he's ever drafted. Again, Trevor's one of I've told people before, he's the best lefty you've never heard of. Because if you look at the draft league, so if you look at, he averaged 243.89 or whatever this was the previous year. This year, he's on the list all the way down here. Sorry, you can't see that very well. At 225. So he lost almost 20 pins on his average. This is like the lowest he's averaged ever, period, ever.
Oh, yeah. By far. I mean, he's easily right around 240 normally.
Yeah, he's going to be around 240 the vast majority of places where you go.
That's a fact. All right.
So I'm going to actually pull him up.
He doesn't even take track of all of his honor scores.
Yeah, he does. I don't. Not that I get as many as he does. There's a Trevor W. Baumgartner in Mankato.
Definitely not that one.
Yeah. All right, so his other 2 averages last year were 31 and 35. His averages the previous year, 43, 36, 35. The year before that, 43, 34, 32. The year before that, 36, 33, 30. The year before that, 42, 38.
He had a composite average of 240 and 2 centers.
The year before that, 265. He only bowled 3.
Oh, he did. Wait a minute.
He
He
bowled
bowled
3
above the
games.
Westridge.
Yeah. 32-29. So, yeah. So he's averaged nutso for his composite average 32, 40, 33, 36, 38. And then last year it was always the paltry 230 because that 225 really dragged him down. So it was an absolutely brutal year last year for so long
Yeah.
that as soon as everybody started scoring, it was just too late. And so the list is down low. But anyway, so we were close.
We were close.
We knew that some teams were going to be really competitive. There were some teams that surprised us. My team was a complete trash can. We finished dead last.
My team wasn't bad at all.
And it wasn't close. We finished last by almost 30 points.
We finished 7th and 10th.
Tried to not
so
finish last.
I feel like we could have even been better than that. But
Yeah.
I drug us down a little bit the first half. That's all right. It was still a good year. I had a blast.
Yeah.
I'd definitely bowl with those boys again.
Yeah. And I had, again, when I said last year, it's like, yeah, I couldn't be happier with the people I bowled with.
Yeah.
We were all down a little bit. I was down 5 pins. Jesse was down a few pins. Ryan was down a few pins. And then the other guy, Calvano, just had a really, really bad year.
Poor guy. Yeah.
I think I don't know what was going on, but he had some work stuff going on, and then he had some physical stuff going on. He averaged like 175.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And it makes for a long year if that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Great dude to bowl with, and yeah, I was happy to bowl on the team. It didn't happen.
Yep, it's all good though.
Didn't happen.
Still like the guy a lot.
So this year we're going to go through a little bit of a mock draft, and sorry this is hard to see on the screen.
I can see it. Maybe not. It hasn't changed over yet.
All right.
Believe it or not, they'll probably, if they're watching like on their phone or like on a TV, they should be able to see it.
Yeah.
So what are we doing now?
The Take a Day IPA.
So for our locals that are with us, if anybody's still with us, any reason why Lefty struggled? So they went through a little bit of a lane resurface at the beginning of the year. And at the very beginning of the year, the lane play was just absolutely trash. It had nothing to do with the lane man or anything like that. It was just, they were hard to strike.
Yeah, it was hard to just get to the pocket and then strike on top of it.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I pulled up Trevor's thing. He averaged under 210 until January.
Yeah, that says a lot.
And it's just like saying that, yeah, Packy went somewhere and did this, because him and Packy bowl a lot of double stuff here in the area together, and they always win the doubles tournaments.
Always.
It's just a chip shot. Trevor's the best lefty you've never heard of. He's one of the best bowlers you've never heard of, period. He could be out there bowling
on tour
pro stuff if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
He's just ridiculously good. And for him to average less than 210 on a house shot for 4 solid months, that's good. If only you knew him better, you'd understand.
Yeah, kid's incredible. He's actually been on a breakdown pair with us, I think, in our early days of the show.
He's been on a show with us before.
And if you go back to one of our early episodes when we had the TV behind us instead of the sign, I think we featured him on here and showed some videos of him throwing some shots. It's pretty damn impressive. The kid has just got so many tricks in his bag. So
he's in some of Packy's videos.
He is in some of Packy's videos. You got to find him in there, but yeah, he's in there. All right. Let's start off with Mr. Yuri.
Yeah.
So I think we both know who this is going.
Yeah. This is pretty obvious because last year there was a whole lot clearer list of, so already down the 4th pick down is 220 or 222, and then it goes under 220. By contrast, last year, you were twice the amount. Like there's 5, 10, 11, 12, 12-ish, 13 bowlers over 220. This year there's 4. And so last year you had a lot clearer idea. Okay, in the first round, you generally want to draft a 3 bowler.
Yep.
Because even if you have to deal with something in the last round, if you have a good captain and a good 3 bowler, so I started to explain this earlier and lost it, but you bowl who's across from you, and that's worth a point per game.
Point. Yep.
And Peterson points for those that know what it is. And then the team game is worth 4 points a game, and that's the same all the way across. So it's 1, 1, 1, and then 1 for series, and then for team games it's 4, 4, 4, and then 4 for series, and so it's a total of 32 points a night. The team games are the team points are a whole lot more important than the individual points. I'll go 6 and 2 every game.
Yeah.
Even if your top 2 even if your 1 and 2 bowlers are trash cans,
Yes.
if your third and fourth bowler can carry the team point, who cares? They can lose every point every year, all year. If we go 6-2 every game, and for the set, if you get over 20 points a night, you're doing very well.
Your goal is 20 points a night.
Yeah.
If you go 20 points a night every week, you're going to be right up there.
Yeah, you're gonna be in good shape.
Yeah,
and again, to look at the actual points from last year, the team in first finished with 657 points, and they lost 430 points. And so again, that's the 20 and 12. Again, if you get 20 points every night, that's going to do it. Because at 33 weeks, that put you at 660. So the team that won didn't even average 20 points a night.
Yeah, no, it's.
So.
Sorry, I was looking at those.
20 points is a good night.
Yep, I agree.
Period.
So, I mean, Yuri's pretty much a home run pick. We know who he's taking here. We both know he's going Tyler Grumblevitz, who is the recent winner of the TAT, by the way.
Yeah, Tyler won the TAT here
a few weeks ago.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago.
Here's where it starts getting hairy.
And see, that's the thing, because usually this isn't really the case. Tyler is the clear-cut best player on the draft by a mile. He will probably average 240 this year. If he's because he was given Russ. Russ actually went out and practiced the other day. I guess because Tyler said, Russ, I'm going to out-average Russ this year. And Russ is, again, a perennial 240 average that is just so ridiculously good. Physical game, mental game.
Yep.
One of those guys that doesn't practice because he doesn't feel like he needs to. And he's not doing it to be cocky. He just realistically, objectively doesn't need to practice.
No, he doesn't. He's practiced enough in his life.
Yeah, and so he was actually out practicing the other day. He's like, I got to keep up with you. And so him and Tyler have a little friendly wager on who's going to average more this year. Tyler could legitimately, Tyler may not beat him, but it's going to be close.
I think so.
Because Tyler has, at number one, he spent his last year at
he went back to
Weber
college.
International.
Yeah. Went back to college at Weber for a year, and I think he had another year of eligibility left, but he decided to come back again. So
what it was is he finished up, and he can do it online because he had like 1 or 2 more classes. He's like, I could have gone back for an entire other year, or I have like 12 credit hours and I can graduate in this one class and I can do it online. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna spend another year in college just so I can bowl.
No,
that's okay.
I think Trent. So this is where it starts getting a little hairy here.
Right
off the get-go. That's what's crazy about this draft. So Trent Overby, I'm gonna lean. I think he's gonna go probably. I think he may dip down the board a bit.
Yeah.
And take somebody he likes to bowl with. I could see him reaching down and getting like a Mike Hathaway.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
He likes Mike.
Is Mike Hathaway? There's a lot of. I don't know who Eric Moore is.
I don't either. I think he's a Lawrence guy though.
Yeah, Ethan Burns is from Topeka, and he just graduated high school, and he's a good bowler, but
he is entering an adult league for the first time.
Yeah, bowling against youth bowlers and then getting into this league, and we've seen several people from Topeka try to get into this league.
It's an animal.
It's it's more than they expect.
Yeah.
And so he's a good bowler. I think I was talking to James earlier. I still think he's going to go for 215. He'd be a great kid to bowl with, but you don't want to pay. I don't think 222 for him.
No, I don't think so.
You're picking the first several spots and you're looking for a definite 3 bowler going to help carry the team. And again, this is nothing against Ethan whatsoever.
We don't mean any hard feelings against anybody in this.
Well, and I used to drill stuff for him and coached him when he was, in youth leagues and a little bit.
That's offensive. That's as tall as I am now. Sorry.
Yeah, but great kid. Love to have him on a team. But if you're thinking objectively, sorry if this hurts anybody's feelings, but I can't talk shit on Yuri because if he takes Tyler the first pick, that's a great step in the right direction, man. I'm not going to talk shit this year.
He's taking Tyler. We know that.
Yeah.
With Jerry Jennings, with Tyler off the board, he's going Freed.
Yeah.
They'll bowl together again for the second year in a row.
Yeah.
Now he's going to pick somebody else just to piss me off. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably. But yeah, Trent would probably take a Hathaway.
I could see Hathaway. So he drops. We both predict that Trent's going to drop down the board a little bit and go dip into that 213 number at Hathaway, which will reset him a little bit, but not terribly too much.
Yeah, because looking at these names again, I don't know Eric Moore, but 226 is something. So Trent might take a flyer on him, but Trent likes bowling with the same. He's bowled with Warren Elliott and Mike Hathaway for the last decade, or whatever. That's just their team.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, these competitive most of the time. Caitlin drafted the three, or no, I guess it wasn't.
I don't remember.
Oh, it was Alex Hardman that drafted the three of them or something? I don't know.
Something like that. Jay Kreitzer, here we go again.
Sean Beach is at 213. I'm thinking he may take Sean Beach, but if some of these, I don't know. Again, Eric Moore might be from Kansas City. He might be a buddy.
I think he's from Lawrence.
Okay.
I looked. I think he's from Lawrence.
Okay. Jay is another one of those that him and Colfax and Beach
I could see
kind of go together.
I could see Kreitzer also going. I can see. I see Beach. I like
dropping
that.
down to a Beach or a Colfax, and that's a tough because they're both the same average, and I think he probably wants both of them.
Yep. I agree with that, but we'll say it's a fair pick. Let's go Beach.
Yeah, let's just say Beach.
Jason Crouch, who is a first-time captain this year, right?
Either a first-time captain or he doesn't.
Repeat,
he doesn't captain. He wasn't a captain last year, but the averages were all really high last year, and so I think he just wasn't quite a captain.
I think it's going to dip back up the board, and I say Crouch will go somebody like Ryan Klaus.
That's what I would think. Jason's a buddy of mine. I've presented for both of his Hall of Fame inductions. I could see him dropping down to pick me up, but if I were him, with the names that are still left on the board, a Jared Freed, a John Bay, I could see him picking Baton because I think he's bowled with him before, and we bowled with him for nationals.
Right.
Or no, we bowled with him for nationals before. We bowl with Ryan Klaus for nationals every year.
Right.
And so if I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, I'm probably going to have a better year than 212 this year, but with him picking where he's at, you've got to get more value in the first round. I would not pick me because I'm looking at this. Ryan Klaus had a down year. He can go for 225. I think I'm going to be up around 220-ish, but you're looking at Klaus that's probably going to go for 225. Ryan Miller's probably going to go for over 220. Maybe take a flyer of this Eric Moore. If he's I see
Tennyson going Eric Moore.
Tennyson will pick whoever the best way. Tennyson doesn't really care. He gets along with everybody.
He'll take the top average on the board.
Yeah. If I was Jason, there's way too many picks for him to drop down and pick me. That's all I'm saying.
If you're watching this, Jason, or you watch it later, there's your hint.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be mad if he picked me, but I think that again, that's one of those things like James was talking about. Like, you want to bowl with people that you want to bowl with.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to sacrifice the team by dipping down too far.
No,
because even if you're bowling with people you want to bowl with, when you're constantly losing every week, that's not a whole lot of fun, even if you're bowling with people you want to bowl with. So if you can get a blend of that, if he can still get a John Baton, Ryan Klaus, Ryan Miller, Jeff White, Mike Smallwood, there's too many names on the list at that point to dip down and take and I would say the same about Trent really too, because there's too many for Trent, Jay Kreitzer, there's just too many other better players.
Yeah.
No offense, whatever. There's too many better players to pick who we think that they're going to pick.
Trent may surprise me. He really may.
Trent might, and it might be a like drop down and get Caitlin because he bowled with her last year. She was a captain at like 220 something. She had a really rough year.
Well, they were trash early in the year.
Yeah.
It was hard to recover. Like the back half of the season, I averaged 225.
I'm literally
I was like 189 at one point.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Caitlin's down there at 210. She could average 225 this year. And so I put her in the top whatever. And that's just a super bonus pick because she's going to obliterate. She's not going to average 210 this year. She's one of these doesn't ever miss.
No, she's great. She's
had a rough year. I would put her up in the top 5 or 6 of the draft. And so that would, if Trent picks Caitlin, that would be an amazing pick across the board for several different reasons.
I was a little less than 225. It was like 221, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are we?
Tennyson. I think if Eric Moore is still on the board, Tennyson's going to take him. He'd take Burns. He'd take Matt Mace. Whatever.
Trevor, I already know he's going to take best available. I see him taking a Baton.
Probably best available. I could see him picking Baton if
they bowled together last year and had a good time.
If Freed is still available, if Jerry goes a different direction, which I don't expect him to.
Oh yeah, if Freed's still there, he'll take Freed. But I don't think Freed would even make it past Tennyson.
No. I think everybody realizes that Jared, and again, Jared's at 219. He
had
could
a down
easily
year.
go for 225 plus.
Yep.
Um,
Wagner, he'll take Caitlin if she's there.
yeah, I think that's a good call.
She is one though to dip over to the other side and take at 210 because she can easily be 12 pins higher, easily.
Yeah, Rob and Caitlin are married, so
Yeah.
if Caitlin's there, that'd be another one of those best case scenario. If Caitlin's still there available for Rob, he's not going to pick her just because they're married.
Rob likes to bowl with people he knows too.
Yeah.
I could see Rob also taking
Caitlin to be a steal at that point. But again, if a Ryan Klaus, Ryan Miller, whatever else is still available, I could see that happening. Bo is a freaking wild card. Let me pop up last year's.
Bo McVeigh.
Yeah, who do you end? Okay, Jim Kent, Kenny Altman, and Kevin Burrell.
Okay.
So Chubby, Kenny, and Kevin. Kevin had a good year. Kevin normally stays between 205, 210. He shot 750 a couple times this year and averaged almost 215.
Well, and Kevin Burrell had a good year last year.
He just puts it down the side. He's one of those guys that you can just trust to shoot 650 every week. It's like 620 is a bad week because he just puts it down the side and hits the pocket 24/7. He's got an old guy game and he's only like 35 or whatever.
Yeah.
So Bo's going to pick who Bo's going to pick. And so I think he'll probably stay up. I could see him if an Eric Moore is still available, if Ethan's still there. Because looking at the rest of this, again, even if you are picking later in the second round, you still got 210 averages on the board. So I just go on ahead and get who you can get up here because if you do dip down and take a 210, you're going to end up getting another 210 in the next round.
I agree
It's not worth playing for the later rounds. You get the best in the first round this year. I think you get the best bowler that you can get, the one that you think is going to have the best upside, and that could be a Caitlin because she could easily average 10 pins higher than what
she's kind of a wild card right there where you just don't know. Like I don't think she's getting past Rob, but
yeah,
I could be wrong.
Another one on here is Mason Alvarado. I know that you haven't seen him for a couple of years. He bowled really good in the summer league this year. He graduated high school, and he's gotten a whole lot better in the last year.
Well, he bowled the league last year. And then quit.
Tried, but he was still in high school and didn't know he couldn't make money. So,
yeah, I wouldn't have done it either. I'm surprised. Yeah. Did he actually bowl in the league?
He bowled for like 4 weeks.
I'm surprised they still let him bowl or let him get high school money.
They didn't know. Well, that's the thing is I'm not bowling high school. They didn't know he was still in high school was the thing. They thought he graduated. And then he's like, well, I'm just not bowling for the team this year. It's like, but you're still in high school? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, okay. You can't do this.
Yeah, you can't. If you ever want to do anything youth-wise again, you can't.
Yeah.
Or amateur or whatever you call it. I don't know.
Yeah. So Bo is probably going to take best available, and there's still Alex John Hardman. There's still some good names on there. This Mike Bess.
Mike Bess.
Oh yeah, Angel just sent me some, and she said he could have bowled, but the entire league would have had to go through the safe sport training or whatever to bowl with a minor.
Like even me?
Yeah.
Oh,
everybody. I went through the safe sport thing for the board, and that's like, no, sorry, man, you got to quit.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll see you next year. You're 17. You got your whole life in front of you.
You got your whole life in front of you. Come back to us when you're out of
We're not doing this.
We don't mean any disrespect, though.
Yeah.
Keeler. Okay, so Keeler. I think Keeler goes Alex Hardman.
I could see that. I could see. Well, is Mike Best from Kansas City too?
No, I think he's from Emporia.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
I think he's from an Emporia area at Flint Hills. I think he goes Alex or John either way. I could also see Jeff White with Steven.
Yeah.
Steve is a really good guy. I would enjoy bowling with him too.
Don't call me Steven.
And Jesse Bowers. I mean, I don't know what you're picking, but Jesse Bauer next will pick Ryan Miller if he's there.
Yes, that's 100%. If Ryan Miller's still there, he will pick Ryan. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be there or not. No, I know that Jesse's going to pick him if he's there. I just don't know if he's going to be there.
I think Ryan will still be there.
I think he will still be too, just because of who I think is going to pick whoever else ahead of him. I think Ryan will still be there. If he's not...
Oh, Chenoa's not bowling this year.
Yeah, Chenoa's not bowling this year. He might go for a Rick Jimenez. Mike Smallwood would be a good pick.
Oh, he did enter his name back in, Jimenez.
Yeah, Kenny hopped on there. Colfax. He's drafted me a couple times, and so he might. I still think that's a little bit of a reach for. Again, I'm going to bowl better than 212 this year, but I think just who's on there. I think it's a little bit too much of a reach for him at that point. So yeah, Ryan Miller, if he's still available, and there's a couple other names. Smallwood, Rick Jimenez, Jeff White. If they're still available, there's plenty of names to pick from. Zach, I have no freaking clue who Zach Rose is going to pick. Let me pull up who he. Oh, what you doing, Bucko?
Who did he pick last year?
Come here, Bucko. You got Groom today, didn't you?
Zach wasn't a captain last year.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he was.
Picked Yuri, Hunter Cole, and Wesley Outman.
So then he's going to go like.
Hey, Bucko, you got Groom today, didn't you,
So
Bucko?
he might be another best available at that time.
Are you a pretty Bucko now?
I'm looking at that list.
You're the soft Bucko. I know you're a pretty Bucko now. You got the Groom.
I could see him taking you. I could see Zach taking you.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I'm gonna lean towards you on that one. I really am.
Possibly. And see, he's still a wild card for me.
Oh, I agree.
I would say that there's still there's a John Hardman. I don't know. I don't have a good enough read on. I haven't bowled with him enough. Like I talk to him every once in a while. We mainly talk tech stuff about. Yeah. He bowls with James a lot, and we talk ball motion stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah.
On that front, I just don't have a good read on who he's going to pick. James would be next.
No, Jay Futrell.
Oh yeah, Jay Futrell. Jay is another. I don't.
He'd pick a Hardman if they're there.
He would probably. Yeah, he'd probably pick an Alex or a John if they're still there. He just
Jeff White.
Yeah, Jay just likes bowling with really chill people.
Yeah, Jay's a really chill dude.
He doesn't have the energy for.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Mike Gilmore, Ken Caudell, and Jay Kreitzer. Those are just some laid back. Like Caudell's always positive. He's a little loud. Here's looking at you.
I can see Brent Coleman going to Futrell.
Yeah.
I can see Brent going to Futrell there.
These guys are just chill. That's team chill right there, just period.
Yes.
So he just wants super chill, laid back. And so, yeah, I could definitely see a Kevin Burrell or a John Colfax or a Brent Coolman or Nathan Hardman even.
Nathan Hardman's very laid back, quiet.
Yeah.
Matthew Carpenter as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both in the same direction. Okay, so our guest at the top of the show, James Niffen. K is silent.
Yeah.
What direction is he going? I have no idea. I have an idea what he wants to do.
I would say
who's got the lowest rev rate places there.
Yeah. And he's told if I'm still available at that point, he's very strongly leaning in my direction, but it still depends on who's available at that point. I might go with a Mike Smallwood because, again, he plays down the side. He bowled with him last year.
Yeah.
If Jeff White's still available, that's a super good value. Or Rick Jimenez, who fell down and hurt himself at work the other day, and so he's not going to be able to bowl the first 5 or 6 weeks. But a Rick Jimenez, if he's still there, is a really solid pick. And of course, if there's a Ryan Klaus or a Ryan Miller still, or Jared.
They're long gone.
Yeah.
They're long gone at that point.
That's what I think too. And so depending on his options, I think if Jeff White and Rick Jimenez are still available, he picks one of them. I would pick one of them over me, honestly. But there's Mason Alvarado down there. Quidditch right there. Then you start getting into Caitlin. I would pick Caitlin. She's still there. She won't be, but
she'll be gone by then.
Yeah.
I truly think she's not getting past Rob, but I don't even think she'll go past Bo, personally.
No, honestly she won't make it past Rob. So I guess we don't even really need to. Talk that direction.
Johnny Clark. He's a wild card too because he is a first-time captain.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to him a lot about this. I think he's going to let the board fall to him and just kind of see where it's at and just kind of at that point in the draft, it's so hard to guess right now.
Yeah.
But just going off of what I've talked to him about, it makes it sound like he's just going to play the board and see what's there. I mean, I think he does want to bowl with people that he knows. It's kind of hard to play a guessing game and say, I'm taking blah, 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 blah. You have no idea who they are. It's, once again, like James said at the top of the show, too, you also camaraderie and team chemistry is a big thing, too. So even if your team's not the best on paper and you have a good team chemistry, Goes a long way. It really does. I mean, that team could be lifted into a top 5 finish or a win.
Paul Burnett, Eric Moore is a solid 226 to 230 average, 226 East with bad racks. So, so that would be so Tyler and Eric should probably be the insta picks of this draft.
So yeah, what do you think on Johnny? I mean, I think he's going to let the board fall to him and probably just take his best that he can. I guess at that point, you're that far down the list, you'd almost have to dip it in the second page.
Yeah. And that's the weird thing is that at the top of this list, you could legitimately draft down into the second side of the page.
There's some good bowlers on the second side of the page that have bad years.
And be in good shape. That's the thing. There's several of them.
Like,
you're going to be up.
Oh, I'll be more than that.
Chubby's going to be up.
Yeah.
Noah Belt was down 10 pins this year. Ken Caudell, I think, is going to go up a little bit. Caitlin's definitely going to go up.
Megan Cole's only at 206.
Yeah, she had a bad year. She's a whole lot better than that.
Jaden Barr's going to go up. Adam Riley's going to go up.
Yeah, so there's several of them low. So this first round, it's a little bit of a nightmare, but there's the second round. There is a bunch of them on this second side of the page over here that could go for a lot of value.
Oh yeah, that top half of that second page is going to be nuts though.
So I think normally the first round is crazy, and you got to get who you can get.
Yeah.
This year, it almost might be worth playing a little bit for the second round just because of if you don't get some of these super high values on the second side of this page, you might be stuck in the last round.
Yep.
And kind of up a creek.
That Burton Dingle combo is interesting too because it's a lefty righty combo.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Dingle's kind of a up 10 dumper, so to speak, and then Larry obviously is a lefty, kind of a slow wheeling lefty, but it's a nice little 1-2 combo there. For those of you want to explain the combo so people kind of understand that.
Yeah, so there is a combo pick. It's for people that either can't bowl full time or don't want to bowl full time, and so they will. Kind of rare, but they will put people together as a combo. So you will get one of them 1 week, the other one the next week, the other one the next week, or you can get one like 2-3 weeks in a row. You can get the other one. They do have to stay close to like a 50-50 split for the year. You can't have one of them bowl like 75% of the time. I think it has to be no more than like a third and 2/3 or something like that.
I think so. Johnny Clark and Yuri were a combo one year, and that was just absolutely filthy. Trevor got him, and that was filthy.
Mm-hmm. And some people are worried about that generally the combos are the risk reward.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that's like, gosh, you worry about, well, they're not bowling full time because they never know when they can be there. Sometimes it might make it really tricky. It might be a week to week headache trying to figure out, okay, who's going to bowl this week?
Because it's the captains that have to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So I don't know who DJ Swanson is. So if you're in here and you know who he is, help us out. But
hi, Max.
Is he in here?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm in my. Oh, there he is. Hi, Max. Okay, so that was Danny Bradley. Danny Bradley in the last 2 years has taken Jeremy Rager with his first pick.
Yeah, that's not good. Jeremy's not bowling.
No, and Jeremy moved to Arizona. So, man, that's tough. Now I don't know who do you all pick last year? Shanoa.
Genoa filled in for somebody that had to quit, I believe.
Let's see who we drafted. I am curious.
Yeah, okay.
Is it really 98 degrees outside?
Not here.
It says 98 degrees on the bottom. Sorry.
Interesting.
I'm curious who we picked.
Yeah, 98 and sunny. That's
false.
Incorrect. All right. So let's see who Danny, because, this is the draft list from last year.
Bradley. Okay, so
Mason. Oh, yeah. So,
okay.
Genoa filled in for Mason. And so his team had a good year. Jaden was down. Jeremy Bragard did really well. Danny did exceptionally well. Genoa did pretty good. But yeah.
I'm surprised she's not bowling this year.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why.
It's not my business, but
Quinoa isn't bowling this year.
Just curious. She never really does. It was the first year she bowled in a while.
Yeah.
Josh King, I don't recognize that name. Did he bowl the league last year?
He looks like Henry Cavill. Like a young, he was the stocky kid that kind of looked like Superman with the curl or whatever.
Okay, yeah,
he looks like Henry Cavill.
Dennis Jacobson, Ken Caudell. See, Ken Caudell is a little down too.
Yeah.
Jim Kent, Chubby's definitely better than 209.
Yeah.
It's okay. So you start getting into I am curious where Russ goes though. obviously Alex going to be
Yeah.
gone. John's going to be gone.
Well, Nathan Hartman.
You
I'm
think-
just gonna Nathan's gonna be there. Russ always picks Hartman's. Alex and John I think will be gone, so Russ is gonna pick Nathan. That's just a
Oh yeah, he will. Just out of the heart. I mean, he works with him and pretty much
Yeah.
like family to him. Pretty much. I'd
that's
assume.
just a foregone conclusion. And then after that, we have you can
Reset.
kind of fumble your way through the first round and get a good idea who's going to do what. But once you get past that, then once you get into the second round, the trick becomes in the old snake draft. It's kind of like, okay, if Russ picks again, then we can keep going through the list. But with them reshuffling the averages, it's too much math to do for.
I really think after looking at this draft order, though, just compared to last year's, I think the second round is going to be huge in this draft.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be one of those that you're going to need to. You're going to have to rely on a bounce back.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
If we look at the last several averages, so trying to figure out who's not going to get picked, I would think depending on what shape Trent's in, he might pick his dad because Tim's bowling this year.
Oh yeah, I did see
So
that.
he might pick even though his dad's the second to lowest average, he might pick his dad for that last pick. Justin Wilson's bowled the league before. Everybody knows about Justin. Brian's the lowest average on the list, and he did bowl the league last year. Didn't have a great year, but everybody at least knows him. I don't know who Ben Hink is.
I have no idea who Ben Hink is.
I don't know who Austin Weddage is. Chad Pawamo bowls our Friday night league. He might be a little bit too much. Again,
Who?
nobody knows who he is.
Chad Pawamo.
Yeah.
Which one's he?
He bowls. Who's he even bowl with? I don't think he bowled. He wasn't bowling. He's only bowled the last couple of years. So the year that you and Amanda bowled with us,
Yeah.
I don't think he was bowling.
He's not the
league
Purple
that
Hammer
year.
guy, is he?
No. So you wouldn't know him.
Okay. Ben Hink.
He bowled with Jack Tyler this summer and picked up a lot of Jack-isms. So he's really good.
You don't know Jack.
He's really good at drinking and yelling now.
Oh, great.
So yeah, that might. But nobody knows who he is.
Where's Ken Caudell when you need him?
Yeah. So I could see the ones that I could see not getting drafted are Ben Hink, Chad, and Brian or Tim, depending on like if Trent's got a high. I don't know. Trent just might pick his dad. Period. No matter what spot he's picking in that.
If he
last
does,
round.
that will shuffle it up a little.
Yeah,
Not a ton.
I would still think Ben wouldn't get drafted, Chad wouldn't get drafted, and probably either Brian or Justin. Justin hasn't bowled the league in a couple of years, though, and so Brian's fresher on people's minds.
Justin Wilson. I don't remember him.
He bowled for KU.
I'd have to see him.
Yeah, you'd have to see. He bowled Topeka a couple times too. You'll know exactly who he is when you see him.
Okay, all right.
Angel keeps talking like she's not going to get drafted, but
Tell her to stop.
nobody knows who Justin Weddage is. Nobody knows who Ben Hink is. Nobody knows who Chad Pawamo is. Justin hasn't bowled the league in a couple of years. Brian's the last average. If Trent doesn't draft him, he probably doesn't get drafted. So,
You got Jeff Alton sitting here at 205 too, and he was a captain the year before.
yeah, and see, that's the other thing. So Angel will get, even if she might be one of the last couple picks, but
At least you're in. You're in.
she bowled with Johnny Clark. I could see Johnny picking her. I could see Danny picking her. I could see Keeler picking her. Bo might pick her. I could see she bowled with Tennyson last year too. Tennyson might pick her because I think that
He took over. She took over for his son.
yeah, she took over for Tennyson Jr. and then they ended up doing I think they
Almost
won the second half.
Yeah.
And so I think that she's on several people's lists, especially in the third round. So
Well, she can bounce back from that.
yeah.
200.
Her problem was just the last game. She would always go like 240, 210, 160. Just because she gets into transition and isn't confident enough
Well, they
with
can
moving
transition
left.
weird on the right side in that place sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the fronts go, and when the fronts go, that place can be an animal
Yeah.
because that place naturally hooks a lot, anyways.
Yeah. I think her third game average was like 180 last year. And so if she
Yeah.
gets that up, if she gets that up to 200, her average will be 210. But so that's probably going to do it for our draft coverage. We will be back next week after we do the draft to see how much we screwed up. And we will also be back to pick best teams so that people can get pissed off at us.
Oh, well, you know what?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well,
We got 10
draft
minutes.
better, bowl better.
Bowl better, damn it. We got 10 minutes left.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, something interesting. So we were talking about the fancy bowling pins. Okay, I need to get this off the screen. We're done with this now. Come on.
Okay, Justin.
Fancy bowling
Justin
pins.
W. bowled on varsity at OU last year, so Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
That's what Jerry Jennings said. So Justin's down here at 196.
Okay, so he's probably better than that.
That's what Chris said last year.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it, because there's truly a lot of names on here that I don't know. Doesn't mean any disrespect or anything. Just don't know who they are.
Yeah, so we do have the pins. We've got the bottle opener, Spaceballs, the pizza cutter.
Freaking pizza cutter, man.
Spaceballs, the bowl. Yeah, that's a whole lot better than having a Spectre in a box. I'm just saying.
Spectre in a box. All right.
And it smells great. Once again, that guy is available. So something I do. Okay, just polish that off real quick. I'm gonna have you try something interesting.
It's done, isn't it? It's done. Oh. I think to trigger a giveaway, I think we should ask a trivia question.
Yeah. Spaceballs, the wine stopper. So because I'm apparently turning into a puss.
Oh, good stuff now.
I got some non-alcoholic bourbon.
So you're giving me some non-alcoholic shit?
Yeah. This surprised me because it doesn't really taste like bourbon.
And there's calories in it?
You wouldn't expect nothing. It has no sugar in it. It has no nothing in it.
I'll try it.
It has vitamins in it. I mean, it's actually good for you. Free Spirits bourbon. There is a little bit of they put a little bit of capsaicin in it to mimic the kind of whiskey burn.
Yeah.
And so it tastes kind of like a liquid gingerbread cookie, and then it gives you the little burn, and you'll taste it, you're like, oh, that's not whiskey. That's not bad though. And you'll take another sip and it's like, huh, this is okay.
I'll try it.
So yeah, so I'm going to sip on a little bit of this. I will not give you a ton because again, it does not.
It still smells like.
It really doesn't taste. Yeah, it really doesn't taste like whiskey.
Okay.
But they have said it's not necessarily for drinking straight. It's more for drinking with for mixing.
It's different.
Yeah, it does not taste like bourbon. I mean, it's like
it does have a little burn at the end.
The spirit of bourbon, yes.
Kind of chocolatey.
Yeah, and it tastes to me like Christmas. It just kind of
like Christmas.
I get the gingerbread,
like the tree.
It doesn't have the whiskey. It's kind of like, oh, that's a little bit watery, but it does have a little bit of sweetness to it, and then you get the little bit of a burn. I haven't tried it in a mixed drink yet, but they said, once you get it in a mixed drink, it tastes a whole lot better than drinking it straight. They don't really. It's like if you drink it straight, it's just like, yeah, that's not bourbon. But I've been sipping on it the last couple nights, and it's not bad.
So you're trying to think of some kind of trivia question for a giveaway here.
Yeah, Spaceballs 3.
I don't know what to think. That is right.
Visible confusion. Spaceball, the toilet paper. Put it in Dr. Pepper. Yeah, there's some of these.
I think that would work.
Mad Mace 149 is my answer. There's another guy we didn't talk about. He's a tricky one because the couple previous years his average was down, and he ended up subbing the last, I don't know what, Matt, 2-3 months or whatever, an average 222. So that could be an interesting one for people on the draft board because he was down lower. Now he's at 220 something, so he's technically fourth on the draft list, but I don't know if people are going to know what to do with him. I wouldn't know what to do with him, honestly.
We'll find out. I'm not going to hang around either. I'm going to go to the draft or the meeting, and then I'm going to head back. I'll wait for somebody to text me and tell me what the results are.
Yeah, we're going to go for the meeting, and then we're going to hang out and bowl or whatever.
Jason Nelson, he needs to follow through more, though.
Yeah. True dat.
True dat. All right, what do we got here? I'm just looking here. I'm deserving of some product here. Draft board looks intense. Robert McGraw. Tiffany won something from us last week.
Yeah, we will get that stuff out.
Oh, let's keep looking.
Signed in? That's stupid.
What's the matter? What are you trying to do?
I was trying to pull up my email, but I guess I'm not signed in. So
I can't think of a trivia question, so unless you got one.
I don't really have a trivia question. Who else is in here all the time? Because we already gave some to Curtis L. Curtis, Angel sent you something on Discord. We need your address so that we can send your ball cup.
Paul, I don't even remember the last year I had a full head of hair.
Have we given anything? We haven't given anything to Kendall Portee.
No, we did not. What do you want to give him something?
Kendall, you want a ball cup? I'll give a ball cup to Kendall.
There you go. I put it in Dr. Pepper. You said Curtis L did get something?
Yeah, Curtis L got some a couple weeks ago.
Let's see here. Looking through. Oh, who's all still with us here? I was bad about being in the chat when I was looking through the draft list because I was looking at the. I had it blown up and pulled up on mine.
Yeah. All right, Kendall. Which?
Yeah, you can think about that. Ask him about that real quick.
So we have like a black metallic. We have a couple black metallics. We have a red metallic. We have a couple of like purple, pinkish, teal. Then we have kind of like a galaxy one.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, what's the luggage combination in Spaceballs?
Actually, you want to do that real quick before we got 3 minutes? Quick thoughts on the PWBA tour?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Ashley.
Did I miss the trivia? No, we didn't put the trivia question out because we have no idea.
I have no
Ashley
idea.
says hello. She's busy watching oh, yeah, the Tour Championship's going on right now. Baseball question coming. You're KC fans. My answer is George Brett. Funny, he's not a KC fan.
Nope. I am not a KC fan.
Black metallic, please. Cool. Kendall wins the black metallic. Bam.
Ooh, that's good. That's a good color choice. I like that.
Yeah, just Facebook message me your address. We'll get it. We got a couple other to ship out. We'll get that. We'll get that out. Yeah, so the PWBA, Caitlin Johnson won the Pepsi Open. Diana Zavjalova won the Waterloo Open. She hadn't won in 5 years, and so she got that done. And then Caitlin Johnson had bowled on tour for a couple of years, and then just it wasn't working for her, and so she reluctantly got a real job, and then was just bowling part-time this year, and then she just led pretty well wire to wire this tournament, and then got off to a rough start, but ended up winning for her first title. And the women's holy crap.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm still looking.
Yeah. So I'll get to that in a second. But the Tour Championship is going on right now, and I don't know if the finals are tonight or if they're tomorrow. But I know that there was match play earlier today that I was watching a little bit this morning. Yeah. So Max Costa does the scarred prints. He does these, and so Facebook scarred prints, SKARD prints. And then Rosedall 10 gets you 10% off. It's the same code that I have for Coolwick. Yeah, I meant to tell you, a viewer ordered something from me the other day based off your recommendation because you're fairly whiny about stuff you don't like and you raved about these. That's why I whine about stuff. I want to be like the Simon Cowell of bowling or like the Gordon Ramsay of bowling. Like I complain about absolutely everything, and if you can get a compliment from something, a compliment about something from me, you know you've done something special.
Absolutely. 290 going through 7. Awesome.
So, yeah.
I guess I need to pick somebody here.
Yeah.
It's a tough one tonight.
Finals tomorrow night. TV shows tomorrow night at 6. So, yeah. Fairly whiny about stuff you don't like, and you raved about these. Hell yeah. That's one of the best compliments I've ever gotten.
Is everybody in here are you all in our Facebook group? So we can get off here shortly, just a second, so I can give something away here.
Yeah. Nico, Send us your address. You got a shirt coming, and tell us what color shirt you want.
I pick Gilpat's.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with just trying to go off of everybody that we haven't picked. Who's frequently with us? I don't know. Are you in our Facebook group? Everybody, please ask or answer real quick, because I have an idea who I want to pick here.
They're gonna say yes regardless because
That's
they
true.
want a ball.
I'm gonna go ahead and answer this. No, I'm giving away a T-shirt.
Oh, okay.
Unless you wanted to give away.
No.
I'm giving away a T-shirt to Robert McGraw.
There we
Robert
go.
McGraw, you are a winner of a breakdown pair T-shirt.
Heck yeah. There you go.
So, I will probably give another one away next week. No,
Yeah, I'll probably give away some shirts or maybe even a hoodie. We're starting to get into winter leagues, so
Kendall just won a ball cup, so
I gotta wait until my stuff shows up. But I got a whole bunch of stuff coming.
Robert, reach out to me on Facebook, and I need you to tell me what size T-shirt you want and what color you want, and I need your address. So just give me a shout. If you don't have me on Facebook, you can email us or you can reach out to us on the Facebook group messenger. We both get it. So
once again,
thanks for being a loyal listener, follower.
Yep. If you want some really fancy bowling ball art, pens, pizza cutter you could kill somebody with, a bowl, the
bottle opener.
Email address is scrolling below. All you have to do is send that guy some and say you're interested.
In here right now.
Yeah. Yep. And again, it's case by case basis. Thicker covers are better. So if you have like high roads, stuff like that, 2-piece balls, it's more the cover stock's thicker, so it's easier for him to work with instead of having to kind of piecemeal something like this together. The pens are super cool. So yeah, just reach out and
I should do
touch base and see what y'all can work out.
I think I got a random question though, real quick trivia question before we leave for next week. We should do for the T-shirt giveaway. We should be the person who predicts like a certain pick in the draft.
Yeah,
like can't be the first pick.
Yeah, it can't be anything like too easy.
We could even use our buddy Trevor as a guinea pig.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Should we go to Trent? You pick.
I would almost think like Bo or Nick Vaughn are like the two that I have no read on, no frickin' idea. If somebody can correctly guess who Bo.
Okay, so that we're going with Bo or Nick Vaughn.
Yeah, either one. I have no freaking idea.
Are you doing anything like that, or you're just going to do the ball cup, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's do Bo McVay. If anybody can guess Bo McVay or Nick Vaughn's first round pick, the first one to give me that guess correctly, I will give you a shirt.
Yeah, because you have no freaking idea who any of these people are. But again, we have no idea. We know who these people are, and we have no idea who they're going to pick. So yes, it is a crapshoot.
All right.
Yes, it is a shot in the dark.
Brent says Bo picking me. I'm definitely not cheating. If he does, you answered first. You will win a T-shirt.
Yeah.
So I will only give away one for the first correct answer. If the correct answer is not hit, I will still find a way to give another away T-shirt. So appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed our back-to-back episode here.
Yep, we'll be back next week for our regularly scheduled program. And
Number
we will
7.
have a draft recap and see what else has happened. I don't know if there's anything terribly exciting that'll be going on next week. But we'll be here and we'll be drinking. So
there you have it. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll be back next week.
Yep. Thanks again for the donations.
Oh, yeah. And happy birthday.
See you next week. So, yeah. Thanks, y'all.